Hi, my name is Christy and I am a counselor at Healing Hearts of Indy Counseling in Indianapolis, Indiana. Today I'm going to talk about what I call riding the shame train. So it's a funny expression, and a lot of times when I say that, people are kind of confused on what I mean when I say riding the shame train. So riding the shame train starts with one bad or negative thought that we have about ourselves that we say, usually in our head, we can say it out loud, but it starts with that one negative thought that leads to another negative thought that then leads to another negative thought, and before we know it, it's like we're speeding down the track of feeling bad about ourselves. Everything is negative, everything isn't going right, and overall that we're just must not be a very good person because we've piled on negative thought after negative thought after negative thought. So that is riding the shame train. Shame in general is a good place to start, so that maybe you can understand a little bit what it's like to have it happen over and over. But shame is negative things that we feel about ourselves, and it can be related to just about anything in our life. It can be related to how we are in relationships, how we are at our jobs, how we are with our friends, how we do in hobbies that we are. But it's when we're very critical of ourselves, overly critical, not very praising, acknowledging of good things that happen to us, feeling like other people know things better than we do. They know how to be in this world and we don't. Feeling not worthy, feeling like our work is not as good as others. It doesn't measure up. We in general don't measure up. All of these feelings are feelings of shame. It's kind of like an over, like the generalized feeling of I'm not good enough or I'm not as good as other people. And the shame train is when that starts to spiral. Sometimes people can have one shaming thought or feeling. It might lead to another, but they're able to get out of that place pretty quickly. They don't stay there. They're able to talk themselves off the ledge, so to speak, to say, either it's okay for me not to be the best at everything, or that's not really true, or I'm not the worst person that has ever done this job. They're able to kind of back themselves out of that thought and say, one thought, two thoughts, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm able to not continue to go down that route. But trouble really starts happening when that starts to spiral, where one little thought then becomes another thought, and another thought, and it just starts to spiral out of control. And that is when you're like cruising down these tracks of shame and just plowing through, and just everything then that comes into your mind is negative and pushing yourself down, punishing your self-worth, and overall just feeling like a pretty bad person. So somebody could get that, for example, they may have might start with a bad day at work, and so driving home, the first thought is I am the worst, whatever occupation that has ever lived. I'm horrible at it. I'm not very good. Just because of one bad day, they take one thing and they make it into something bigger, and so they're already kind of on this spiral of not feeling good. They get home and maybe they go to the mailbox and find, a bill that they forgot to pay that's now past due, and so then that kind of starts the next layer of I'm a horrible husband and partner because I can't take care of my family. I can't even figure out how to pay bills. How am I supposed to be okay if I can't even do these little things, and so then the next thing, they walk in the door and they sense that their spouse is mad at them, whether they are or not. Then it's the next thing, see, I am the worst husband that ever lives. Even my wife thinks so, because if she can't be happy when I get home from work, then obviously I must be doing something wrong. And shame is very much internalizing things that go on around us and making them about us. Maybe the wife's in a bad mood because she had a bad day at work. It might not have anything to do with the husband, but excuse me, when we struggle with shame, we tend to make everything about us. And so, and the deeper that somebody gets in the spiral, the more the outside things can feel like they're because of us. Well, this person at work was mean to me because I'm a horrible person. you know, that person cut me off because, you know, they were trying to make me angry, or because they thought I was a bad driver, when you have absolutely no idea what's going on with other people. You know, shame very easily can make us take things on as our own. And if we take on everybody else's emotions and where everybody else is, it's really easy to start tumbling out of control into feeling like not a very good person. And that's kind of where, you know, the shame can get to you. It's like if it spirals enough and you keep going and going, there's this point where eventually people kind of feel like I'm the worst person who's ever lived. I am horrible. I am bad. And it's just this really bad, you know, kind of horrible emotional place to be. And you know, going into the spiral and riding the shame train leads to addiction. It leads to obsession. It leads to depression. It can lead to anxiety. You know, a lot of other things surface from having these negative thoughts that continue on and on. You know, people with addiction suffer from shame as far as, you know, somebody might drink, and so that creates a lot of shame. Well, gosh, I can't believe I drank that much last night. I'm letting everybody down. You know, I'm a horrible person for doing that. And so then when it comes to the next night, they're like, well, I might as well drink because I'm a bad person. Everybody sees me as a bad person. I fail anyway. I failed last night not being able to not drink, so I might as well do it again. And that just continues the addiction on and on. And the deeper that somebody kind of gets into that shame spiral and that shame train, the harder it is for them to back off of that and get out of that rut, so to speak, or get out of that place. And so addictions tend to kind of overtake people and run rampant. And you know, at the kind of core of all of this is the self-talk that we have. You know, we're taught how we talk to ourselves. We're taught how to treat ourselves. If somebody grows up in an environment that they get criticized a lot, nothing is ever good enough, why did you do it that way? Or even just in an environment where the praise is very absent, where they might bring home a really good report card and they hand it to their parents, and their parents is like, and kind of sets it aside. Then they're never understanding like what is good versus bad, and I am okay, I am good at certain things. And so either one of those environments can create this sense of where we start to talk and negatively and have really bad self-talk. And I think for my clients, when I recognize shame, one of the first things I kind of talk to them about and have them start to understand is they really need to pay attention to the self-talk that goes into their mind. So often it's so natural, it's like a reflex anymore, that we don't even realize maybe how negative we are to ourselves and how much we do talk badly about ourselves until we really start paying attention. And so when I have clients start to do that, a lot of them are really shocked about, oh my gosh, like I say nothing nice to myself, or you know, in an hour I said 10 horrible things about myself. And you know, I always tell people, like, who is supposed to, if you can't say you're good at things, you're good enough, you're worthy, you're lovable, you're a good person, then who's going to do that? If you can't do that for yourselves, other people won't do that either. And that can include people that are close to you, your spouse and friends. You know, and shame in general can keep you really paralyzed and stuck. Sometimes people feel like it's easier to not try at things and fail and feel horrible, or it's better to stay away from things and have to fight off the bad self-talk that I have going on. So you know, riding the shame train, people don't necessarily do that all the time. They don't, but when they do, it can be a pretty bad cycle, and they can get stuck there for pretty long amounts of time. So you know, kind of starting in counseling is trying to figure out where's the root of the shame, where does it come from, and how do we start to change the self-talk to change the shame, to keep ourselves from even getting onto the shame train, you know, to start with. So if you feel like you're relating to what I'm talking about and you've taken a ride or two on the shame train, you have these negative thoughts about yourself, or in general you just don't have very positive self-talk, come in and we'll kind of get to the root of that. And sometimes just seeing why it's there is just a weight lifted off of people. It can be really freeing and really help people get started on the road to their own recovery. So if you want to learn more about this topic, my email address is Christy@healingheartsofindy.com. That's CHRISTY @healingheartsofindy.com. Thank you.